Hi everyone, it's Sunday, July 10th, time for another HideNet Week in Review. I'm Vera Dordick. Let's start with the US this week, where it was a short one thanks to the Monday 4th of July holiday, and that meant most packers didn't offer until Wednesday. In the end, a few of the prices were higher, but overall the feeling is that those higher price sales are really only being achieved on small volumes. Heavy Texas steer prices ranged from $25 to $27 for selections at 62-64 pounds. At the high end, it's $1 more than last week, but again, that's not the price for all sales. The cow market is still seeing decent interest this week, and prices were mainly steady. Looking at the export totals, combined sales without those, the rawhide sales were pretty poor. Combined export sales for the week ending June 30th were 570,000, which is 18% less than last week's high total. Combined shipments dropped by 24% to just 427,100. And finally, slaughter for this week was lower because of the holiday on Monday, and it came in at 593,000. Turning to Europe, editor Andrea Guolo says that the poor exchange rate for the euro against the dollar is helping European exports. On the other hand, hide prices are stable, but the activity is slowing down. And in the UK, the situation was basically unchanged, although slaughter was down a bit due to some spikes in COVID. In England, sales were made at 75 to 76 cents per kilo in sterling for the 36 plus British ox. And in Ireland, the reference price in euros is still around 80 cents, but some sales were made at 75 cents. European bulls are still in a bad spot with low slaughter, but also very little demand. Northern German bulls sold at a steady €1 per kilo for the 40 plus kilo selections. Sales are pretty spotty overall, and the rest of the month does not look very promising for bulls either. On the other hand, European cows saw a few more sales during the week, but now the differential between the high-end and the low-end hides seems to be increasing. Looking at the veal sector, prices are softening, but nowhere near the rate of cows and bulls. And meanwhile, for sheep, prices are currently stable. In his analysis, Andrea discusses the effects of the currency situation on Europe and business in the industry, along with an outlook for the remaining weeks of July before the summer shutdown. From South America, editor Ronald Guiel reports that raw material prices are again on the decline. The average price is now $2.13 per kilo for fresh hides, and that is a drop of 12 cents from last week. The reference price of TR1 also slipped by 2 cents this week to 80 cents per square foot. In other news from Brazil, the CICB reports that hide exports in the first half of the year were down almost 2% in value compared to the same period in 2021, and more importantly, they were 19.5% lower in square meters. June exports were a little more than 3.5% lower in value than the same month last year, but they were 5% higher than in May. And in terms of square meters, June was 6.1% below the same month of 2021, but nearly 20% higher than May this year. From elsewhere in Latin America, Argentina is reimposing restrictions on footwear imports, and also in that country, China's Chery is going to build an electric car factory and invest in a tannery. In Colombia, the government had to remind some localities about the proper disposal of tanning waste, and some businesses there face sanctions over that. In Paraguay, June cattle slaughter was the second highest of the year, and in Uruguay, slaughter for the week was the second lowest of the year. So that's all we have for this week, and until next week, good night from HideNet.